lighting is crazy. Darn. It's the lighting. Oh, goodness gracious. I think I'm going to have to make another live. Hello, hello. Hey there. My lighting is crazy. It's like my camera. See how I do that? My camera is like crazy. Hold on now. Is that better? I don't know. My lighting is crazy. I'm sorry about my lighting. It looked decent, right? The lighting. Peace, peace, peace. The light in the back, right? It's back here. Is it okay? I can't do anything about it. I hate when the lighting is funky. It's like a nice camera, but... Okay. Well, it's okay. It is what it is, right? Peace, you too. I'm back. Okay. That's as good as the camera's gonna be. You know, I just hate bad lighting. You here for the message? I love it, voice. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace, everyone. Peace to the east, the west, the north, and the south. This is Florboon coming to today. I got a frog messenger. I so appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who wanted to send me a lily pad. I am so appreciative. I'll be coming out with my first frog LP. I'm joking. Okay. So check on in. Okay, I think why the lighting bothers me is because I can't see if you. Okay, so you're fine. All right. So peace to the east, west, north, and south. This is Florboon coming to you today with a new topic of discussion. Check on it. Hey, peace, peace, peace. So check on in. Okay. Okay. I'll wait until yes, from DC, Kevin Smith. Did you hear what happened in DC, Kevin? Kevin, did you hear? I want to hear if Kevin, you saw it. Were you one of the ones who witnessed? One of our C stars on Zoom actually was there when that big ship came over and then there was some sort of crash and all the police were over in DC. Did you guys see it already? We haven't figured out what it was. We're trying to get more information, so I don't know if you saw. Did you get a chance to see it? I'm gonna see if you saw it. Kevin, let me know, Kevin, if you saw it. You didn't see it, Kevin? Kevin, you don't know what happened over in your neck of the woods? You didn't even feel it? Oh, wow. Okay. So, Kevin, you should look into it. It's really disturbing. I mean, there's some footage online, Kevin, so get a chance to look and see if you see anything. But we saw some images, and it's really disturbing. And of course, your Willy Wonka is not going to tell you anything. You live in D.C., but you know there's no real people over there living in the White House. That's why the whole January 6th thing happened, so they could block off the whole area. So they would have an excuse to why you're not supposed to go in there. You know what I mean? So check on it. Beetlejuice. Well, I'm glad you mentioned Beetlejuice. You know, the movie just came out, right? The second movie. You told us it was sure exploding like a year ago. Leslie. Who said it didn't explode? Who said it? No, I didn't see it. 3 Evolved. I didn't see it. We just saw the videos of some of the coverage over in DC, so I wanted to know if any of you saw it. Okay, I'm not going to stay on long. I just came on to make an emergency message because you're having a fake election Oh, I'm sorry, you're having an election, deselection, or a selection, whatever you call it. You're about to have that. So I thought I'd come on and just like kind of talk to you a little bit about some of the things that are going on. Let me see something with you, my dear. I think you might be an op. Oof, you're out of here. If you're an op, if you come in here to do some craziness, listen, it's not welcome here. If you don't like the channel, if you don't like frogs, if you don't like people talking about certain topics, this is probably not the channel for you. So I just think that if you have an issue with the topic or anything like that, just log off. I mean, this is a beautiful thing about being online. You can choose your channels that you prefer, or you have or you're aligned with the message, and then you can also choose to leave. Okay. Oh, Hellboy Wars about the witches and Apollonian Helena reference too. Oh, thank you, voice art. Okay. I'll wait until we get to 500 real quick. I'm not going to stay on long. I just wanted to make a really quick message about what I presume allegedly could be occurring right now. So check on in. You've been watching me, seen you watching me since high school. You're 24 now. Oh, I hope I didn't disturb your mind, frontline angel. I'm grateful you're here, but sometimes I don't want to disturb your mind. So hopefully I've had a decent experience. Because I could be off the hinges sometimes, right? So check on in. I don't like the lighting, y'all. I can't help. So I wish the lighting was better. See, the lighting is good. I have to put my hands here. So I'm sorry about the lighting. It's the angle I have the camera. It's going to be like this for a little bit. It more bothers me probably than you, but that's okay. Okay. Thank you, Delmache. Hey, Delmache. How you doing, dear? Oh, you did? I'm glad. I'm glad. I can be a little off the hinges sometimes. So especially when especially when like sometimes I talk about certain things, I want to make sure I'm being appropriate for all age groups. at least for 11 and above. Okay. Hey, Lachelle, how you doing? Hey, Alex. It looks like it's snowing. It does, right? The weather outside is frightful, but I sure think's delightful. What is that? I'm getting messages already. We went on vacation and at an Airbnb close to the beautiful neighborhood with covered pools. Okay. All right. It's almost at 500. I'm going to start soon. So we'll talk about the clones. Okay. Yeah. Many of you who know me a while, this is bittersweet because most of the times when I used to talk about clones, I used to get kicked off of YouTube. So let's see how this goes. It's been more. There's been a lot of talk with clones since then. So hopefully the video will stay up. I guess I can make a call, y'all. So I've at least gotten kicked off of lives, and this is about maybe 7 years ago or 8 years ago. And they kicked me off a couple times, removed the videos of clones. I don't even think I've had clone videos because they've removed it since then. So I'm gonna hope the video stays up. I can't promise you. So we'll kind of talk about that when we get to 500. I hope everybody's well. We got another geo-engineered hurricane coming in, another two. So I hope you guys are ready. We got a little notice that around the Oh, maybe I should wait. Should I wait to talk about? Well, we're not. It's not on topic, so I can kind of talk about it now. Around the 20th to the 24th, there is another allegedly, another geoengineered storm coming, right? So about the 20th to the 24th, I would just, let me give a shout out to my family in Costa Rica, Honduras, Guatemala, um, uh, where else? Bahamas, Cuba. You might get felt. You might get touched. And also, what was the other one? The other one was, oh my God, where was it? They're making it out of my head. Where is it? Guatemala, Honduras, Costa Rica. What's the other one? Damashi, remember the? Oh my God, it's the biggest whistleblowing place there is, where all the major whistleblowers go, and nobody really touches that country. Mexico, no, but Belize. Belize is one, and Cuba will be touched, but Belize is definitely on the list, supposedly. So I'm just throwing it out. God darn it, I forgot. Not Panama, no. It's oh gosh. I hate when I forget the place. No. It's not Greenland. No, it's in Central America, y'all. It's in Central America. Gosh darn it. I don't remember the name. I say it all the time. It's not Costa Rica, it's not Honduras, Costa Rica. Come on. Not Venezuela. Keep going, keep going. No, not Switzerland. Nicaragua. Thank you, Alex. Alex got it. Ribbit. Ribbit. The other fellow frog. It is Nicaragua. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. So it's Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Honduras, Belize, Cuba's again going to be touched, Bahamas, and Costa Rica. So this is allegedly. We got some intel on the last Zoom. Oh, it's starting. That's all the intel, y'all. You got to come and check us on Zoom. I can't go into it again. But if you come on, we'll be talking about it again. We got some intel, and it was amazing. Let's start with the topic of discussion. Someone put the time up, please. Can you put the timestamp? I got to go. I got 30 minutes with y'all, and then I got to bounce. All right, so we're going to talk about the clone wars that we're participating in now. Many of you aren't realizing that you are actually being, you've been inseminated. I said inseminated. Da-da-da. You've been infiltrated. You've been undergoing warfare with clones. And I'll kind of start off with this. I don't want to be so extreme. So, as many of you know, over the years, I've talked about the Chinois. Now, for those who, it's a French word that means a certain country. Please put it in the chat. I use Chinois because it's a French word. It doesn't trigger the algorithm to attack the live. So many of you who speak French, you know what Chinois means, right? So Chinois, I told you, who purchased your country, and India. I can say India easier. Okay. Thank you, Copper Toned. They purchased your country. I know that many of you are really, really having trouble accepting that, and you should be able to qualify it based on what's going on with your groceries and the fake cloned food that is being shelved and showing up all over the grocery stores, and some of even the farmers markets are actually distributing some of this cloned plastic fake food. Okay. Now the whole thing with e-peel, allegedly, I gotta say this, allegedly, e-peel, that is a new type of brand of food with geoengineered skin that is also in the apple cider vinegar. We don't mess with that particular apple cider vinegar anymore, the one that most of us used to use, because Katy Perry purchased it and she's down with the get down. And that e-peel supposedly is one of the components that is used to make that particular brand of, thank you, y'all, that particular brand of apple cider vinegar. Okay. So, unfortunately, you'll see a lot of videos talking about people trying to bend their bananas. They're getting water. Well, the watermelons were exploding because they were some sort of fake watermelons filled with like pus and probably some geoengineered, chemicals, mass destruction. It was nice to have a nice, fresh, seeded watermelon, which is probably hard for you to get at this point because your wonderful Willy Wonka, the Chinois, are now distributing their food to you, because remember, they're keeping all of the good food for them, and they're bioclones, okay? They're biolab clones, they're test tube incubator baby people. They're keeping it for their geoengineered immigrants that are distributed all over the country now. Because remember, if you purchase a country, you'll start to redistribute your own people into the country. And last time, I talked about the fact that many of you aren't realizing that, the whole January 6th shenanigans that went down, that was to give you the illusion that they had to put, fencing around to protect the Capitol from a whole bunch of savages. Now, the savages, as far as I knew, were living in the White House. Go figure that they thought the savages went outside. January 6th was a psyop to give the excuse to close down and cover and put the guarding around the White House so that you wouldn't question why no one's in there, why no one legitimately is in there. Okay? So that being said, I wanted to kind of talk about, blow the whistle on the Clone Wars. You really thought that we were going through a war with outer space, or with, Russia, or with, I don't know, whatever country, Iran. I just want to tell you that is basically a lie. That's a geoengineered lie. That's been, hey Susu, hey M, that's been propagated to you to confuse you, to veer you off the right path, so you won't overstand and understand that the war that you're experiencing is inside your used to be country. If many of you don't realize that you're in a war, let me give you some reminders, maybe some things for you to reflect on, for those who feel like you voting is going to make a difference. But, because, the candidates are all selections. There isn't anybody you're choosing. They give you the illusion that you're going to choose someone, but really in itself, it's a geoengineered, it's TRix. They give you the illusion that you're living in a democracy, that you have a choice that matters. You're choosing your delegate, you're choosing your politicians, you're choosing the people who you feel are supposed to support you. But that is a lie. And I'm here to tell you that the majority of people that are representing right now, because all the others, let me just give you another fun fact. Allegedly, most of your so-called polytrickster, I'm sorry, I'm being very rude. Your politicians have already left the building. Elvis has left the building. They have ran away. They are living fat off the hog under the underground bases that were built specifically for reset and for the pole shift. We are in full-on pole shift, y'all. That is why you're getting 120 something hurricanes through a so-called 126, I think. Now, don't quote me on this. 126 tornadoes. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. I lived in Florida for how long? 126 plus tornadoes occurring simultaneously during a whole hurricane that seemed to be like geoengineered and guided by some sort of artificial magnetic system that was pushing it and prodding it in specific directions where it seems to be advantageous for your Willy Wonka to basically mud flood those towns, be able to eventually get rid of the people there. This is how they motivate people to leave, y'all. They geoengineer storms and they create them so that they can herd the people off the land, because a lot of these people didn't even know they were living in flood zones. So a lot of them did not have flood insurance. And the ones who did, let me just tell you about your insurance companies. They are criminals. And if many of you get the check, most of you, due to how high and inflated the amount of money, how much inflation, the amount for you to reconstruct your beautiful home in a beautiful area, most of you are going to take that fat check and take it and bounce. And your Willy Wonka system knows this. They geoengineered a storm to basically herd people. It's another form of colonization, decolonization, okay? Gentrification, right? To move these people away from a place that they want to take over, or they know what's coming. So it's in order for you to move in other, I'm sure they're going to send you pamphlets in the mail of perfect places that you can relocate, because that's how they also control and socially condition you and herd you into locations that they want you to move into. Okay, so let me say a sorry, because I want to be compassionate for anyone who was a victim of your Willy Wonka system, really, Chinois. And who do I think did it? Chinois. Why do I think it did it? You don't think it's odd that we have two of the highest and most advanced tech countries who bought the country out, and the very places where who have been the most devastated, like North Carolina, places in Georgia, other places on the coastline of Florida, and also in Wisconsin, where there was a fire. Am I correct, y'all? Can someone verify? It's Wisconsin, right? Where they had a fire of 780 acres. Or is it 780 or 780,000? I think it's 780. Can someone verify that for me? Is it Wisconsin? Please verify it, because I want to be correct with this. Was burning during this entire storm. I just want to bring that up, because no one's talking about the fact that the many places that were decimated, there are all these amazing minerals. Wyoming, thank you, Netaru. Thank you, Netaru. Thank you, Teresa. I'm sorry, let me correct it. Wyoming, 780 hundred acres have been destroyed by a fire simultaneously during a storm, a geoengineered hurricane that had over 160 simultaneous tornadoes happening that decimated these areas. People are still out of power. People's houses are underwater. There's alligators biting tires, dogs, eating people's feet. Do not go into. Let me say this for those who move to Florida. I'm going to sidebar a bit, and then I'm going to pull back in. You do know that Florida is a reptilian haven, right? First of all, for you who may not know, and you should definitely check your Chinese astrology, because it matters where you live. Because if the enemy of where you live is a problem, you should move out of that state. The snake is the Chinese zodiac for Florida. Florida is like the Jurassic Park of the United States. You've got lizards all over the walls. You've got snakes and serpents crawling all over the place. You've got alligators in every waterway. Why then would you go swimming in the very water that you were warned not to? If you don't go in your retention pond, if you're not swimming in the lakes in Florida, why would you go out in the water and think you could walk around and think that there's not going to be? Because remember, whenever it rains in Florida slightly, the alligators do their relocation to the other ponds and lakes that they weren't able to get access to. So if the whole place is a pond and lake, just a reminder to those who are not from Florida, please pay attention. I know some of you go there and you don't know, but you're going to lose a limb. You may even lose your life. Your dogs may be eaten. Your cats may be snack tops. Please be careful in Florida. Okay? The state is the snake, and it is reptilian haven. If you don't like reptiles, Florida shouldn't have been a place that you relocated. Okay? Ron DeSantis, which I really appreciate Ron DeSantis, y'all. I never really had a problem with him, but you do know he's down with the get down, right? Remember, he's a poly trickster, and do believe he's gotten a lot of wonderful incentive for faking the funk. Okay? So you've had these. Okay, so let me go back. I personally, it is my opinion that all of these geoengineered storms were created by the Cabbage Patch, the test tube people coming over from Chinois neck of the woods. Okay? And how do you say Flurburn? That's very cruel. Why would you say that? You don't like people calling you a monkey or saying things like that. I have proof. When have you ever seen people that not only they look alike, but they have batches, like names, like a whole bunch of names, like 1,000 people with the same name, last name. That's a batch, y'all. So when you make something like batches of cars, like Hyundai and so on, and you have these numbers attached to it, these people all have the same last names. Those are batches. Those are clones. How do you have a whole overpopulation of people and there's no women? to accommodate that population. If you have a whole elevated population, people, if it's called overpopulated and they had a restriction on how many children you could have, and it's got so many people with the least amount of women, how do you account for that many people living there if there wasn't enough women to house them? When's the last time you seen a Chinois that was pregnant? I don't know. I'm just asking you. I'm asking for a friend. Let me know, because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm making a miscommunication. Maybe I'm making this up. But I just think that if everyone's last name, if there's like 50,000 people with the last name Lee, you don't think that's like a problem? Everybody with the last name Chen, like that is not a problem? Like, you don't think that's a little suspicious that you can have batches of people that have the same exact phenotype, and that there's wet markets where people can eat anything and there's no emotions to cooking cats or boiling dogs, and it's just like business as usual? You don't think that? I'm just asking. It just seems very suspicious that we have a whole country that's overpopulated with the least amount of women, and there's no accountability to where these children came from. And wet markets where people eat rats, dogs, and geoengineer lettuce, fake rice. All your cloned foods come from a cloned place where I'm perceiving, and I'm guessing that these people are clones. Only cloned people could create cloned foods. Who can actually eat? Who could actually eat plastic food other than fake people? Who would even be incentivized to create fake lettuce, fake rice, fake vegetables, plastic foods, geoengineered plastic food? Like, I'm just asking. Like, do you think that's normal? I actually am making an opinion that the so-called Insepticons who took over your country under your noses without you knowing, they have created a war against the actual previous citizens to be able to get rid of you without you knowing. And the quickest way you can get rid of a people is poisoning them, poisoning their air, poisoning their food, poisoning their soil, slowly giving them geoengineered so that all these weird kind of funguses in people's bodies that they call the big C are just rampant in every. Do you see how many celebrities are dying, yo? I would just say this. Hey, oh, the lighting's better. Okay. Okay, so let me go back to this. We are actually witnessing a war. The war is against you, y'all. I'm sorry I have to be the bearer of bad news. You have been incepted by a group of clones. This is my opinion. Geoengineered, rat eating, cat eating, dog boiling, baby, aborted baby harvesting, penis harvesting, African kidneys and lungs and heart harvesting, African tusk extorters. They're living in your neck of the woods, and they have waged war against the previous citizens of the United States. And how you weren't able to see this is because they've slowly decimated your nutritional, the nutrition and the soil that can house wonderful fruits and vegetables. And yes, and taking hysterectomy. Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on, y'all. Because I'm reading the chat too. I don't mean to smile. I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy sharing that you're living and you're being attacked by clones, geoengineered clones who were created by the black nobility. Listen, I had to go a little further because when I want to shock you, I just bring it another level. Okay. And you are engaging in a silent war. And I will tell you, if you've lost your gallbladder, there's a reason for it. If they've taken out your womb and given you a hysterectomy, I'm just calling out. I think that there might be a reason for it. If they told you that they want to take out your pancreas or your tonsils, or and what I'd ask you as a question is that every time you hear that someone is being told that they need to get rid of a specific type of organ in their body and told that it doesn't mean anything, do you ever look up the spiritual and the spiritual reason, the spiritual element, and what the metaphysical reason for that organ and what it houses, what emotion it houses? That the gallbladder has more of an effect on your emotional state of being, and that if possibly somebody wanted to take that or advise you to take that, like how would the rest of your body react when a spiritual element that is housed in that particular organ is removed? How does the balance or imbalance impede on the rest of the spiritual body, the physical body? Okay. And for those who don't realize that you're in a war, I want you to look at, since your pooping president, the artificial intelligence AI Kazoo himself. If you ever watched the Jetson, go look at Kazoo. He is the original Kazoo. I actually think that the phenotype, the prototype for the geoengineered pooping mass president was actually Kazoo from the actual uh, Jetsons. Okay. So that being said, you must realize when he came into fake power, because he didn't have an inauguration, allegedly, it was pre-taped, right? We have whistleblowers who were there on that day, and they didn't see a thing, but a couple of days prior, it matched the weather that was supposedly pre-taped. That didn't match the day that they propagated and programmed, showed you a program calling it the inauguration. Okay. And on that day, do you realize not even a week or two later that it was that part of our electrical and our grid was given to Chinois? Do you guys remember that? Do you remember when, I think it was a week now, for some of you who are much more specific, do you remember when that dastardly, pooping, clumsy Kazoo gave part of our infrastructure, our grid, to Chinois? Do you guys remember that? Because I mean, we were on Zoom, so we talked about it. And ever since then, banks have been hacked. Your phone has been jacked up. You're getting phone calls from crazy people. All your weird stuff is happening. You're getting robocalls. All your things have changed. Everything's being hacked. You'll get medical bills saying, "Oh, well, we're sorry. All of your information has been leaked. We're sorry about that. We're not going to reimburse you. We like to make sure that we tell you that all of your medical information has been leaked to an unknown source, and we can't really tell you who it is, but we just want to inform you because conformed consent is needed." Okay. So not only that, do you notice that they're making it highly unlivable in the United States? Your insurance company, all your car company, your insurance companies have gone up. Some of you in California can't even get proper car insurance, and they won't cover your houses for specific reasons. I wonder why. Have you noticed that every single bill, whether it's your Netflix bill, your Prime bill, everything has gone up like $5, $10? Do you notice that everyone who's renting right now, their rent keeps going up and there's no restriction, no sort of protection, and it keeps going up and up and up? Who are they creating the system for, or who are they making sure can't survive financially in the system? Now, I don't know. I went to beautiful, big up to everyone from Vancouver. I love Vancouver. Absolutely beautiful. Many of you know I was in Vancouver for like 10 days. A beautiful city. But one thing you have to realize, for all my Canadians, why when I went to Vancouver was everything so astronomically expensive? I want to give you an example because I want to give filling to what I'm sharing with you. Do you want to know why it was so sky high in Chinois' neck of the woods? Let me give a shout out to the sellout, another poly trickster, Mr. Canadian President himself, the nastiest overlord who has ditched his people and thrown them under the bus along with the previous United States citizens. Okay? Trudeau, that ain't true. Your name is not true. That's almost like an oxymoron to say Trudeau, that you nothing about you is true. But the reason why Vancouver, though it was so beautiful and gorgeous and had so many amenities, why it was so sky high is because Trudeau sold their people out, and they let a whole lot of the most the wealthiest and the billionaires in Chinois neck of the woods come in and inflate everything, the rent, the housing, everything, the cost of food. So he let a whole bunch of these geoengineered clones, these test tube baby people, these batches of death into his country where they are living fat off the freaking hog, and everything in Canada is absolutely over the top. So when he let them in, guess what happened, y'all? Because I want to give you a preamp to what's happening in the United States. I always like to give you a little bit of this to give you understanding of why this is happening over here. It is so high there because all of these billionaires and trillionaires, because they're not real, the money is all for the CCP. Okay, so if you think you down with CCP, yeah, you know me, you down with CCP, every last money. Okay, so the CCP is getting all that. Okay, they wanted to be able to ship their illegal money and funding into another system, so they basically bombarded Canada, especially in Vancouver, the most beautiful place. It looks like you're in the middle of China. If you ever go to beautiful Vancouver, it's gorgeous. I love it. I love going to Chinatown. Big up to everyone. The food is amazing. But the reason why there's such a hike in the cost of living and housing is because all of these people, these geoengineered people, these clones came into the country, and with them coming in, all the standard of living went up to the highest amount. This is the preamp to United Fakes. Why do you think all those geoengineered storms specifically targeted places with all of the technology needed for all of the technology that these geoengineered people use? India has some of the best and most efficient, and they are the highest, they have the highest amount of technology, which is never acknowledged. And you think it's by chance that these two groups and countries have come into the United States in the droves, even though they want you to focus, oh, the Venezuelans, oh my God, the Africans, oh, the Haitians. But meanwhile, you don't realize the majority of immigrants that were pushed, prodded, and pimped into your freaking country, it's not yours anymore, were the motherfucking Chinois and Indians. They don't want you to see the videos of how many, because they want you to, oh, it's the Haitians eating the cats. As if you didn't know the wet markets in Chinois' neck of the woods, they eat cats on a regular basis. Now, I'm not saying they did or didn't, but I'm just saying you put a lot of weight on a group of people that's small when you're not even talking about the super soldiers, the super clones that have been let into the country and have taken over all of the infrastructure. And it is most likely probable that the reason why the grid is being hampered and that all of these places and these storms have been specifically engineered to go to places where there's resources for technology, maybe it's because we have tech countries that took over the freaking country. And not to say that these are bad people or so on. Remember, every government pimps out their citizens and however it serves them best. But as a previous American citizen, I would like to talk to my previous American citizens, because we're right now, we are the Indigenous that are being pushed, prodded, and we're being cultivated to get ready to be pushed and pushed into smart cities, or for it to be used for organ harvesting, or to be killed off. Okay? You're either going to be food for fodder, food for labor, or your organs are going to be used for recycling. I don't know if you got a chance to see Cloud Atlas. You should watch the last scene. Big up to everyone. I've mentioned years ago. I'm going to mention it again. It's one of the movies I tell. Look at the last part of Cloud Atlas, y'all. Cloud Atlas tells you this, okay? It kind of speaks to this. If you look at what happened when all the Chinois came in, I told you this years ago, you thought I was being racist, or how could I be? How could I be when I speak about something that has nothing to do with race? These are not even a race of people. These are a batch of people. These are clones. Look at all the names. All the names are the same. Everybody dresses the same. Everyone, how much clones don't have compassion. Clones can eat a baby, a cat, a dog, and not even not even blink an eye. Clones don't have any emotional attachment. They don't have any emotional intelligence. They're basically like bioborgs that are just followers of the agenda. And that being said, I want you to look at what happens when a group of them comes into the countries like Africa, when you saw all of these huge um, batches of people coming into Africa's infrastructure, like Kenya, um, where's a big population. I think Ghana, some of the, my African diaspora tell me the places that they've been. Anywhere they go, do you remember the shipment of penises that were being shipped back to Chinois neck of the woods? Why would you need a whole bunch of Africans' penises, y'all? Wands. What are you doing with their wands? Why would you need thousands of, and where did you get the African penises from? I would think that the wands would be still on the men. Who gave you those wands and who allowed you to ship them? Who gave you the okay to ship the wands back to Chinois? What were you doing with them? You can fact check me, y'all. I could be maniac. I could be crazy. I'm just talking about what's happening. I got to go in like a couple minutes, but I'm telling you, and I'm giving you the warning. You are in a war with a group of new owners of, it's like you have been living in a house and you don't know that the house that you're renting just got bought by new people, and the new people don't want you there. So they're pushing and prodding you out. And if they can't get you out by making it difficult for you to stay there, they're going to try to poison you. They're going to try to make you uncomfortable. They're going to raise the rent. This is exactly what's happening. The rent in the United States is going to be like what's in Vancouver. You do your research yourself. When I went to Vancouver, a hotel room was $500 a night. Everyone is living with other people. They cannot live by themselves. They cannot purchase a house. You cannot buy groceries. I went to a wonderful lady who I met. She was from Pakistan. Big up to Pakistan. She was such a sweetheart. She was talking about she has 3 sons and she has to choose whether she could buy meat to feed her sons because of the price is so high in Canada. You could fact check this. I was just in Vancouver. Y'all saw me. I can't fake the funk. There's beautiful things in Vancouver. I don't want to darn the city. The people are wonderful. The environment is gorgeous. But you have these geoengineered batches and clones that are inflating the environment, the clone wars that are taking over areas. And I personally think before the pole shift, these clones are like cleaners, like insectilians. They place these clones all over underneath the firmament as sweepers. I think basically they're like sweepers. You ever see black ants? What they do when they go into another like area, they'll basically go and take over an area, and then whatever they can't use for their own, whatever they can't use, they'll break down. Like they'll take off the heads of the other ants or insects, and they'll just like totally recycle them. They act like ants. They act like insectilians, very bioborgish, very non-emotional. They don't like you and I, y'all. Okay? I'm making a generalization, but I know. Now, mind you, in Vancouver, everyone was amazing, sweet. There wasn't a problem. But how many times do you see the Chinois in a certain area go in and talk to you and say, hey, buddy, what's going on? How many times do you see them go into your mommy's groups and join your mommy's groups? They're very isolatory. They don't want to be a part of your group. Where are the children coming from? Who's birthing these children that are coming with them? I don't know if you've actually studied the incubator babies, the clones, how clones are basically placed with other clones. There's also another movie that is really good. It's called Extinction. I think it's called Extinction. You should watch the movie Extinction. It kind of speaks to this as well. Okay? I don't want to scare you. I don't want to this is all alleged. Okay, it's my opinion. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, I want at least my fellow previous Americans to realize that you've been taken over by a hostile force. They are clones, and it is a clone war going on where all of your food is being incepted. Now you've got all these explosions happening. Grain just fell off another train over in Wisconsin. I think it's in Wisconsin. A whole train just happenly just happened to crash, and all the grain is spilled all over. Grain that's used to make food, certain types of breads and things like that, that's usually distributed to the American public. I would really question consuming anything that you haven't grown or procured yourself and you can vet out. It is a war, y'all. The United States has been taken over. It is a hostile takeover. You don't realize it because most of the people here have been either shotted up, they're drunk, they're dropping it like it's hot, they're sexed up, infecting themselves with incubus and succubus, drinking Heineken, looking at men in spandex every Sunday, thinking it's real, watching them go hike, hike, hike with a black ball in between their legs. Most people are taking over. But this message is for those who are ready to take this information and make decisions for themselves and their families. You are going to really have to realize that this fake election, that you think that you're going to make a choice, it's going to make a difference in how you get taken out. Okay, one way it's going to be one way. It's the same coin, y'all. I talked about it all the time. It's one quarter, two sides, but it equals the same amount. You're going to have to really make some decisions because I don't know if you've ever got a chance to watch the Chinois army and see how they conduct themselves. Have you ever heard how they're preparing themselves and they were doing exercises on the Canadian border, Canadian border that hit Seattle, Washington? Have you ever watched their drills? They make our soldiers look like frogs, fat frogs. They make our soldiers look like incompetent idiots. While they're feeding you fake food, how do you think you're going to build the strength to fight the clones when most of you are filled with geoengineered food, toxic chemicals because they've been sprayed in the air? They got mosquitoes of mass destruction giving people blitzies and monkey balls. I mean, how are you going to be able to fight? And I'm saying sun stars and sea stars, if you about bowdy, we all are going to have to be prepared for the truest form, because remember, they're going to have some false flags. I want you to keep your consciousness, keep your conscious awareness, because everything that's coming over the next 22 days to the fake election is going to be geoengineered to motivate you to feel a certain way, to feel vulnerable, or to make poor decisions based on whatever they're propagating to socially condition you to make a move or make a decision or to sit still. Please listen. I think this is distraction. I think they're trying to put some clothes on. Who are you? Where are you living? Who doesn't have clothes? Okay, let me say this because it always triggers me. Who doesn't have clothes? That's how you know that's a clone. This is like a person who, I don't know where they come from. This is like somebody who comes from Mars or some planet where there's like probably just a whole bunch of bioborgs. Hold on. Okay, they're gone. I have full clothes, y'all. I don't know why you think that I don't have any clothes on. There's nothing showing. I just want to say that again. I think people are mentally ill. I think he was trying to trigger me, though. I think he was trying to trigger me. There's nothing wrong with a woman that's a little thicker. Why do you literally? Thank you, Dalmache. I just wonder. Let me ask you a question, y'all. Do you think I don't have clothes on? Do you think as a mother, I'm coming on? I have clothes on. I'm fully clothed. I have a bust line. I am not showing any more cleavage than the average woman. I just happen to I'm bustier. Who? You're so used to having fake boobies that you can't even allow someone to have a natural body and natural hair. Like, where do you people come from? Like Mars? It's funny, but it's like, where are the people coming? This is like the fifth person that said put clothes on. Like, are they that triggered? Are these like Christians? Are you wearing a whole turban? Go live in a country like the Middle East where they cover all the women and the men, have their balls underneath the skirt. Go there. Why are you worried about me? My God, I've never heard of Pepe. That's what I'm saying. It's like mental illness. You're telling people that they're naked and they're not. But you'll have a whole man with spandex bending over where you can see his anal apertures through his clothes, and he got a brown ball, and you don't say nothing to them. Why don't you go to the games and talk about the men walking around with their anal cavity in each other's and the men's faces? Okay. Okay, let me stop. I just had to respond to that. I just, I don't, these are not people used to Indigenous women. I think, and to be honest, y'all, you should be very grateful I even have clothes on. As an Indigenous woman, I don't even have to have clothes. We didn't wear tops. That's the problem. That's why most women go mentally ill, because we're supposed to have our breasts out to the sun. But unfortunately, there's perverts or people that are mentally ill that vilify women's natural bodies. We're not supposed to wear tops. That's why women got a lot of issues, because they're not getting the proper sun. Okay, all the Indigenous women didn't wear tops. Only time people wore tops is when there were sexual deviants that were vilifying women because they can't control their wands. It has nothing to do with me if you have a problem. Okay, I'm sorry. Be grateful I have clothes on, because most days I don't want to. Okay, I only do it for, so I don't get accosted in this dastardly perverted world. Okay, my women were happy. No men were raping our women like that. No men were vilifying women. We used to breastfeed our children publicly, and nobody bothered us. Now women are vilified. And then you have a whole bunch of women getting fake parts, demonizing natural women. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, so 5 more minutes, y'all. So let's go back into the I'm not changing for you. If you want people to have more clothes, go to a religious channel, go to someone channel, go to a smaller chested channel, go to that. Why do you even listen to me? If I'm a pervert, then you shouldn't even listen to my intel, because everything I'm saying is a lie. Okay? Anyway, okay, so let's go back to the intel. So y'all, I just wanted to say we are in a full-on war with the clones. There are people walking around that are not even real. There are people walking around that are bioborgs. You've got fake birds. Thanks to Mahogany, who talked about this years ago, the fake birds, the birds that are sitting up there. Remember the pigeons, the geoengineered birds that literally had microchips in them, and they are basically cameras spying and listening to everything you say. We are living in a world where we're going to a more technologically advanced, because we let the Chinois in. I told you during 2020, whenever you have a new batch of people coming into a country, what happens? You start to mimic their habits. So when the Chinois came in the droves, what's the first thing? What happens in Chinois? Because their air is so garbage, they have pollution all over the place because they don't cultivate anything. They're clones. They don't know how to cultivate trees. They don't know how to build things to take away the bad oxygen and eat up and get rid of the carbon monoxide and create oxygen. They live in barren places because they are clones. They don't cultivate anything. In their world, they have to wear masks everywhere. Go to China. Look how people walk around with masks. Guess what happens when a whole batch of them came into our country? The Chinois came to this country. Everyone had to wear what? Masks. And meanwhile, while you're shopping at Shein and Temu, allegedly, you don't know what's in that material. Formaldehyde, toxins, allegedly. That's my opinion. I don't know that. That's a falsehood. Okay? All those toxins in the clothes. Why would you think that you could buy something for $2 and it's normally $100? You don't question that. Like, there's no critical thinking skill saying, wait a second, this shirt is normally like $50 over at Neiman Marcus, and it's like $2.50, and it's darn near free. Who would do that? Why? What reason would a company do that unless there was a motivation and some sort of insemination in the material? Okay. Personally, I think when you get the site on your phone, they basically swipe your information and are spying on you on your phone. I actually think there's probably spyware every time you put the app on your phone. It's my opinion. It may be wrong. It's just my opinion. And all the toxins in the skin. So basically, you're eating rubber food, plastic foods that are geoengineered, made perfectly and personally by the clones. Then they have all of these companies, and mind you, no one's checking them. No one's finding out where these companies, all these clothes are coming from a country that have all this kind of sweat lodges, people sweating, they can't go home. They're not even picking their nose, touching the clothes. And you think that's appropriate for you to shop at them? Because it's $2.50 for a pair of slippers? And not even that, you don't realize that right before all these geoengineered storms, that this so-called second moon, which I haven't witnessed myself, I'm seeing pictures. I don't know who's seeing the second moon. Let me know if you've seen it. they're telling us on the 29th there was a second moon, and we didn't even see the first moon for like a couple of days until like yesterday, the day before. The zombies, we didn't even see the moon come back, almost like they turned the lights off, or there was some sort of glitch in their hologram and their holographic pretend sky, and then all of a sudden the moon came back. Where'd the moon go for the couple days? It wasn't a whole new moon for sky balloons. If it was our country, y'all, how could you let these a country have all of these balloons in the sky? What were they measuring? China had spy balloons in the country all last year. People were seeing spy balloons locate. What were they measuring? What was the reason they were in the sky? No one ever talked. So if this was our country, if we were really a legitimate country still, if we were still part of the United States, wouldn't there have been some inception by the government? Wouldn't there have been fighter jets shooting these things down? How come we never hear anything about it? Why that day that we were on Zoom, and some of you remember because I mentioned this, why on Zoom that we look at the White House and the flag was upside down on the staff? Do you remember that? Do you remember when the flag was hung up? What does that mean when the flag is hung upside down? Okay. So y'all, I gotta go. I just thought I'd bring this to you. I'm gonna be on Zoom tomorrow night again. I think it's tomorrow night. Is it tomorrow night or the day after? What day is it? It's Tuesday. I'll be on Thursday. Okay, so just something to think about. Just something to think about. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to think anything is telling the truth. I could be crazy. You know, according to the guy who came on, I'm butt naked. You know, like now you could just say I'm butt naked and I'm butt naked. Okay, so now people could just make things up. The day I come on butt naked, you know the world is falling apart. Anyway, y'all, please think about it. I would love your opinions. I talked about a lot today. Please definitely give me your opinions about everything. Let me know if you've seen the second moon. Let me know Washington, D.C., who's ever in the house in D.C. Let me know if you saw that big ship, because we think that a group of ships came here and they're not talking about it. So please, D.C., if you have any intel, can you send it in my email? Let me see if you have images of what was seen over DC. We have a Sea Star, Jenna, who said she heard it, and we had some images that were shown, but no one's letting us know what's over there. So DC, can you stand up and let us know what's going on? Also, for anyone else who's seen the second moon personally, let us know if you've seen it, where you've seen it, what city you came from. Ribbit. And just give me your opinion. Are you getting food that's geoengineered? Have you noticed that your fruit and everything is bending? It has a very waxy, plasticky taste. Let me know what areas you're getting that food from. Let me know if you ever had food like that from the farmer's market. Let me know if they're being infiltrated there. Also, for our Georgia family, our family on the outskirts of Louisiana, also in Mississippi and Alabama, please be careful of your water. We already got the notice. Be careful of the water. Boiling it, a toxin, does not make it go away. It makes it more caustic and toxic. Be careful. I wouldn't buy any American water. That's my opinion. You don't have to listen to me. I'm mentally ill. Be careful with the water, y'all. In Georgia, Alabama, Alabama and Mississippi. Okay, there's some deaths that happened for some young men who did not wake up, and that chemical plume that was in the sky, that was more. And I told you, I think that's an issue. Okay, protect your babies, watch yourself, and we will come on again. Okay, love you guys. Peace.